Hello, everybody. Welcome once again to Wednesdays with Larijuana. Every Wednesday, right here on CannabisBuy.com, we bring you the latest information on recreational, adult use pot, medical marijuana from all over the world. Next week is election time, and it's very, very important that we vote positively on marijuana-related issues and politicians who are actually helping us use this wonderful plant. If it wasn't for legalization in the two states, Washington and Colorado, and all the states with medical, none of us would have legal access to this medicine or this recreational use of cannabis. So today I bring you the top 10 pro-marijuana politicians in the United States fighting for pot reform. Now this is written on mainstreet.com by Michael P. Tremgley. I'm not real sure how to pronounce his name, but this is an important issue. You can't sit back and just let politics happen. We have to vote the right way. So again, from mainstreet.com, marijuana legalization has been on a roll lately, with state laws against marijuana falling like dominoes. Here are 10 influential weed-loving politicians. Their reasons vary, in some cases are questionable, but they are enthusiastic nonetheless and leading the charge for marijuana reform on the legal front. Number 1, Representative Dana Rohrabacher, Republican of California. He comes from the libertarian wing of the Republican Party and cites the oft-used line that federal pot prohibition is a drain on resources and an infringement on states' rights. He was quoted in the Orange County Register as saying, quote, "I don't believe that you protect people by throwing them in cages." He equates the incarcerating marijuana traffickers and users as opposing the principles of the Founding Fathers. Number 2, Maryland delegate Cheryl Glenn, a Baltimore Democrat who sponsored medical marijuana legislation in the state. Referring to medical marijuana, she said, quote, "This is a matter of life and death for our people." The state's 2013 medical marijuana law relied on teaching hospitals to get involved in the distribution of marijuana. None of the eligible medical centers have done so, so Glenn and others campaigned for expanding availability. Number 3, also in Maryland, Delegate Dan Morheim. Morheim is the only physician in the 188 member of the Maryland General Assembly. He is also an avid pot proponent. He was quoted saying, quote, The important thing to recognize is that there are thousands of Marylanders who could be helped in the short and long term. We are missing a tremendous economic opportunity to exploit this plant and use it as an intelligent, properly scientific research way, end quote. Number 4, Representative Earl Blumenauer, Democrat of Oregon. Save cash on payment, apparently flavored bongs as well as his signature bow ties, he frequently speaks out against anti-marijuana policies. He wrote recently, as growing number of states, including my home state of Oregon, moved to legalize recreational marijuana for adult use, the conflict between state legality and federal prohibition is only going to get larger. He even managed to tie the Ray Rice NFL domestic violence issue with legalizing marijuana. This ranks among the greatest political rhetoric gymnastic achievements of recent times. Blumenauer has co-sponsored many of the recent pro-pot bills, including the Ending Federal Marijuana Prohibition Act, the state's Medical Marijuana Patient Protection Act, and the Truth in Trials Act. Again, that is Representative Earl Blumenauer of Oregon. Number 5, Delaware State Senator Margaret Rose Henry. A Democrat, she introduced medical marijuana legislation in Delaware 3 years ago. She said that she was, quote, "grateful that so many of my colleagues were able to look past the myths surrounding marijuana and into the eyes and hearts of those who were crying out for our help," end quote. According to the polls that were commissioned by the Marijuana Policy Project and conducted by the Public Policy Polling, which was posted in Marijuana Policy Project's website, 68% of Delawareans favor eliminating the state's criminal penalties for possessing up to 1 ounce of marijuana with a $100 fine. Number 6, also in Delaware, State Representative Helen Keeley. A Democrat, she sponsored Delaware's decriminalization law. She does not like the idea that millions of dollars of taxpayer dollars goes to prosecuting someone with an ounce of marijuana. Changing this would free up the overcrowded jails, which are full of those who are arrested for simply possessing a couple of joints, or at least this is what she claims. The Delaware House Public Safety and Homeland Security Committee voted June 18th to release Representative Helen Keeley's decriminalization bill, but the legislature adjourned July 1st without enacting on it. Number 7, Colorado State Representative Jonathan Singer. He is a drug treatment counselor who represents the Boulder area. He was one of 2 state elected officials who endorsed Amendment 64. Singer championed implementation. He addressed various issues of banking and consumer safety. Colorado was the first state in the union to make marijuana legal, as recreational use, that is. It is also one of the first political entities in the world to do so. As such, it is a petri dish for marijuana policies. Number 8, Washington State Representative Roger Goodman. A Democrat who was at the vanguard of marijuana legalization. He is going through a controversial divorce which involves allegations by his wife that he drove with his kids in the car while stoned on marijuana. Goodman vociferously denies these allegations. Ironically, Goodman has been leading an effort to enhance penalties for those who are driving under the influence with kids in the car. Number 9, Pennsylvania State Senator Mike Fulmer. A Republican, Fulmer is the sponsor of Senate Bill 1182, the Compassionate Use Act of Medical Cannabis Act. He thinks it is compassionate to make marijuana legal for medical purposes. His bill was passed September 25th, but knowing the law is far from popular in the legislature and with the governor, he knows his work is ahead of him. The bill that passed was a limited version of what Fulmer wanted. And number 10, also in Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania State Senator Dalen Leach. Fulmer's Democratic Party co-sponsor of the Compassionate Use of Medical Cannabis Act, Leach is a tireless advocate for legalization. He is most famous for claiming that marijuana was less addictive than chocolate. This claim was refuted by Dr. Stuart Gitlow, the president of the American Society of Addiction Medicine. Leach ran for Democratic nomination for Congress, but the voters rejected him. But his medical marijuana bill was passed by the Pennsylvania Senate September 25th. Again, this was written by Michael P. Tremblay for MainStreet.com. Again, next week is very, very important, everybody. Get out and vote. In Florida, you got to pass medical marijuana. Oregon, legalization. Alaska, all kinds of different states. Pennsylvania, very important. Support the politicians that support us, and let's pass these medical marijuana and recreational marijuana initiatives. Don't forget, every week, Canna Wanna Buy has great products. If you're a head shop, a patient, anybody in the cannabis business, they have great products, fast shipping. And also, don't forget my weekly medical marijuana radio talk show every Saturday night, 7 p.m. In the Mountain Time, 9 on the East Coast, 6 on the West. Join me, why don't you? Peace and love, everybody. Peace and love. We'll see you next Wednesday.